Hello chess friends, and welcome to the Art of Chess channel, and welcome to the round 11 of the US Chess Championship in St. Louis, USA. So after 11 round, this is the last round, and we finally have a winner, and it's the top grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura. So he managed to win his game against Jeffrey Xiong, and Fabiano Caruana and Dominguez Perez only drew, and they stayed with a half a point behind Hikaru Nakamura. And while I was watching this tournament, I think it's really deserved because Hikaru Nakamura played the most attractive chess. He played very aggressive with black pieces. He played this King's Indian style. Today he played this Dutch defense, this Leningrad variation with G6 and F5. You'll see this Leningrad Dutch defense. I think it's really nice opening for you if you have troubles while playing as black, because the move order is really simplified. You have your very nice ideas in these types of positions, and I think Hikaru Nakamura played a perfect Leningrad variation today. So in one of my videos while I was covering this US Chess Championship, I mentioned that I would really love Hikaru Nakamura to win this tournament, because I think the chess world needs a strong Hikaru Nakamura. He's really one of the top grandmasters that really are searching for tactics, that are really searching for these tactical move orders, tactical positions, tactical openings. And here, as I said, he chose again a very aggressive line against d4, and he got awarded because he played really bravely. And there is also personal reason why I wanted Hikaru Nakamura to win this tournament, because I managed to play one game on the chess website against Hikaru Nakamura. And the funny thing is, I wrote him a message and I really asked him to play one game, and he said, okay, let's play one game. I really said him, it's just that I only want to tell my friends that I had the opportunity to play against such a strong grandmaster. And we played the game, and I got crushed in 19 moves. But okay, maybe in one opportunity I'll show you this game also. So let's see now Hikaru Nakamura's brilliancy. And here, after d4, we have f5, the Dutch defense, knight on f3, and now knight on f6, c4, g6. So this is the so-called Leningrad setup. Black's preparation is here to play d6, knight on c6, maybe e5, if white allows it. Maybe then after that e4, getting some space, liberating this diagonal for the bishop. And one of the most common answers here is the move g3, which white played also, bishop on g7 and bishop on g2. Castling, now d6. And this d6, it leaves a little bit space for white. And white can always play the move d5 and really fix the position. And gain some space on the 5th rank. But the problem about the d5 move is that this d5 always blocks out the light square bishop, and it opens this dark square bishop for black. So as said, in these types of variations, black will have this very nice diagonal, white will have the space advantage. So although white is always slightly better, but I think it's an equal position. And for those who have trouble maybe to play against d4, I think this Leningrad variation is also a very nice opening against d4. So here we have knight on c3, and now knight on c6. This knight on c6 is really a provocative move, because of course we are threatening in the next move to play the move e5. And if you allow as white this e5, well, I think you will get crushed, because black will gain already too much space in the center. After potential maybe e4 move, this would, as I said, really liberate this dark square diagonal, and it would be also blocking out this diagonal for the bishop. So that's why here Jeffrey Xiong played d5. And there are these lines in which you play knight on e5, but the most aggressive line in these types of setups is the move knight on a5, and that's what I like about Hikaru Nakamura. He plays this most aggressive lines, this most tactical lines. He wants to win this game. That's why he got really rewarded for playing such an aggressive chess, and I really like it because we saw today in Caruana's game and in that they got into this Italian game, and it was, I think, too static from both sides, and uh, Fabiano Caruana didn't search for his winning chances. Here Hikaru Nakamura with his knight on a5 already showing that he's going for the most aggressive line, and he goes for the win. So here b3, and let's flip the board, flip the board a little bit, because I played this position as white in one of my tournament games, and I played for the club, and my father, he played for the same club, and in this particular line I got out a little bit, took a walk, took a glass of water, and he said, why did you play the move b3? You're losing your knight, because knight on e4 is a threat. But it was really a part of my preparation against a much stronger opponent, and I managed to get the draw. Because if you try here knight on e4, then you get this line: knight takes on e4, bishop takes on a1, but now knight on g5. If you try h6, then we have knight on e6 with a fork, bishop takes on e6, but now bishop on h6. If you get back, bishop on g7, bishop takes, king takes, and now d takes e6, and now maybe after knight on g4, g5, this will really liberate this diagonal for the bishop. We have a very nice space control with this pawn on e6, so this e6 pawn is really annoying. And after knight on g5 and a fixing move with h4, this could be really problematic for black. In the continuation, if black doesn't try this h6, if he goes back with the bishop here on g7, then you can play knight on d4, and there's no way that black is gonna give up this dark square bishop, because after queen on d4, well, too many dark square problems will be around black's king, and with the support of this bishop on b2, well, black could get checkmated in an early stage of the game. So in the continuation, black can try maybe e5, but now knight on e6, bishop takes, knight takes on e6, and now knight takes on f8, rook takes on f8, and I think white is simply better here, because we have the bishop pair. Here in the continuation we can play bishop on d2, attacking the knight. Here after maybe b6 we can immediately take out and really simplify the position. I think white cannot lose this game. So here, that's why after b3, c5 played by Hikaru Nakamura, and now bishop on b2. Now a6, of course, with the preparation, rook on b8, and then to push the pawn on b5, really gaining some space. So that's why here knight on g5, and here rook on b8 by Hikaru. And then h6 is not so good, because white can always jump with the knight on e6, and he can also play something like knight on h3 and try this e4 pawn breakthrough. And you see, with this h6 move, you really weaken this pawn structure. This pawn structure was really better with the pawn on h7, so it was really a firm pawn structure with these three pawns. Now after maybe knight on e6, this could be really problem. White can always fix the position around this d5 square. So as said, you don't need to weaken, because you're allowing your opponent to play the knight on e6 anyway, so there's no way you should really lose this tempo and play this h6 move. So let's go back. That's why here Hikaru stays with his plan. Here knight on e6 can always be played, and of course we're gonna take it, but as said, you don't need to play this h6 move, which is really bad. Here rook on b8, we are trying this counter attack. So queen on d3, and this is preventing this potential b5 move. So that's why queen on e8 with the support on this b5. Very strong move here by Hikaru Nakamura. It looks a little bit awkward here, the queen on e8, but I think it's a very nice preparation. I think this is sort of a home preparation here by Hikaru in this Leningrad variation, because I think he played very aggressively. So here, knight on d1 with the preparation to really open this diagonal, because white has troubles here on this diagonal. Maybe we're searching also for sort of a transposition of the knight here on e3, get this knight more central. So here Hikaru plays on his plan b5. Here we have queen on d2, and now knight on b7. So knight on e3, we have knight on d8, a very strong move also, because we are now really controlling this e6, and we want to challenge now maybe the knight with the move h6. So in these types of variation, we don't mind if we get off these bishops, because white hasn't progressed so far on the king side. White didn't play on this early flank attack, in which we maybe trade off the star square bishop and try to checkmate. So this are really not these types of positions in which white will try this flank attack. So a potential trade of the dark square bishop is not so bad here for black. The only worries that we have here is of course this e6 square, which is now really controlled by Hikaru, and black has already made some progress on the b file. We can always maybe try b takes c4, or even b4. So black created here this very nice space advantage on the queen side, and here knight on h3 was played, bishop on d7, we have rook on d1, and now b4, fixing the position now around dark squares. Now the light square bishop is really blocked out by its own pawns. This bishop still can maybe make some progress after a5, and then maybe a4. So here queen on c2 was played, now a5, knight on f4. Now of course a4, if you take b takes a4, then you get rook on a8 and you lose the pawn. So here black tries to have at least somehow a healthy pawn structure on the queen side. Here we have h4, and now rook on a8, queen on b1, rook on a6. This is a preparation maybe to doubling up the rooks on the a file. Very nice play. So you see, there is no clear plan for both of the sides. I think I would be rather black here, because at least we have here the possibility to play on the a file. I don't see here a clear plan for white, how he should continue, how he should make some progress. If you try something like f3, g4, I think it's a little bit too slow. And here bishop on f3 was played, maybe with the preparation to play g4, but here Hikaru queen on f7, really fixing now. This knight on e6 outpost is really not possible anymore. Here knight on g2, and now knight on g4, bishop takes on g4, bishop takes on g4, now e4, and now bishop on b2, queen takes b2, and now Hikaru really searches here for the simplification. He wants to trade off the queens, play knight on f7, rook on a8, and really doubling up the rooks here on this a file. And these knights are really not well coordinated, because they're aiming on each other, and this is always not a good position, although the position is fixed on the king side. But of course Hikaru is not going to make progress on the king side, so he has made his progress here on the queen side. Queen takes g7, king takes g7, and now e5. So here Hikaru of course plays bishop on f5, because the threat was ready to block out and paralyze all of these pieces on the queen side. So that's why at least bishop on f5, very nice diagonal now we have for the bishop. We have e takes d6, e takes d6, and now rook on e1. And okay, now knight on f7, rook on e7, and now king on f6, attacking the rook. Here white probably should have maybe gone even back with the rook. Here Jeffrey Young played rook on b7, and this rook will be a little bit trapped here. It doesn't have support, it's really lonely here in the attack. It basically doesn't attack anything so far, so that's why Hikaru plays simply a takes b3, a takes b3, and now rook on a8. And this is now, I think, a very strong position, because the knight has possibilities to jump here on e5, and maybe in the next moves here on d3, also here on f3. The rooks are connected. The bishop is now on a very nice diagonal. Here it has very nice control, so all of the pieces are on perfect squares, and the most important thing is that the king is here also on an active square. You'll see that Hikaru Nakamura will play very active here with his king, and we all know in the potential endgame you want to play with your king also, so that's why here the king on f6 is also active, and as said, all of the pieces are perfectly fine. This pawn on d6 is protected, so we are aiming here. This is the weakness in white's camp, this pawn on b3. So if this pawn gets loosed, of course, we would then have a pass pawn, and white would really have troubles with this pawn. So knight on e3 was played, rook on a1, now king on f1, knight on e5, very strong with the preparation to play the move knight on f3, rook takes on a1, rook takes, and now king on e2. Now we have knight on f3, very nice fixed knight, and you see, although it seems that the black king is a little bit endangered here by these two knights and this rook, it's really not so, because here we have the potential diagonal for the king in order to really create also an attack with this piece. If the kings can also come here on this b3 and attack these pawns. So here knight takes on f5, king takes on f5, now we have king on e3, and now rook on e1, king on d3, now very strong, knight on e5, and here king on d2. Now rook on a1, and this is now Hikaru's preparation to go with this king really and infiltrate in white position, because black has simply better activity with his pieces, and this is the main idea while playing an endgame. So if you try something like rook takes on h7 here, then you get rook on a2, you see, then you can simply go after this pawn. Of course you cannot get attacked by this rook, because if your opponent attacks you with the rook, it really only improves the position of the king. So here after potential rook on h6 we can simply take this pawn, and then after this pawn, so now simply push this pawn forward, and this pawn I think will be unstoppable for black. So that's why here after rook on a1, knight on e6 was played. White is trying also a fixed position with this knight, maybe with the support of the rook, to creating some damage here, but Hikaru plays simply slowly. He improves the position of the pawns. He wants white to lose some tempos, because if you try now to attack the pawn on h6, you lose one tempo, and then after that you can take maybe the pawn, but you lost two tempos, and we all know, of course, also that it's all about the tempos in an endgame. So that's why here rook on b6, but now rook on a3, king on c2, now again with the check, king on d1, and now very strong knight on d3 with the preparation to play the knight on f2. So here rook on d6, we have knight on f2, king on e1, and now again the knight comes on a very active square, now with the preparation to play king on e4, maybe king on f3, and creating even checkmate threats here with the knight, king, and the rook. So king on d1, we have king on e4, moving of course the king towards the center. You see how it is important to play with the king. Now the king is not something that you have to worry about. The king is here really an attacking piece. Knight on c7, knight on f2 with the check, king on e1, king on d3. Now we have rook takes on g6, but now basically it's already game over, because now knight on e4, we have king on f1, knight on g3, king on g1, knight on e2, the king has to move here on h1. So here again a very nice centralized move by the king, king on e3, and rook on f6, and in this position white is completely lost, because here we have very strong move by Hikaru, rook on a1, king on h2, and now g3, and in this position white resigned, because here after king on h3 you get king on rook on h1. If you try something king on g2, then you get checkmated, because we have here g2, then you have to move the king on e1, and here a rook on h1 leads to checkmate. So very strong move order here in the opening by Hikaru Nakamura. He played very well positionally and tactically, which is, I think, even more important, because in some occasions we saw Hikaru that he sometimes tried too many tactics. Here we saw a different Hikaru with nice positional play, and I think if he continues like this, because he can also be maybe in the near future the world championship challenger against Magnus Carlsen, and I really wish that he would be. So okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's really congratulate Hikaru for this very important win. I really want to see how many rating points he has now after this tournament, because he didn't lose any game, and I think we'll see him again in this 2800 club very soon. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Meanwhile, you can watch my other commented chess games from the series, and you can also watch my best chess games of all times if you want to see the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. And you can also subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, guys, and Hikaru is the best, of course.